Brother.
Oh yeah.
You think we should do throwback intros? I could sing some of the old, TNA songs in the beginning now, since Slammiversary. Every week leading up to Slammiversary, we had a different TNA/Impact theme. Maybe I should find some other throwbacks. I can start with "He's hot, he's spicy, and he tastes great. It's Curry Man."
There we go.
So,
yeah, we might have to start doing that.
Exactly. Anywho.
Yeah. It is Friday, June 24th, and we're back with another episode of the Deep Six Wrestling Podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Angelo.
And this is Ryan and Angelo Impact Power Hour. So this was the Fallout show from Slammiversary. If you want to hear our thoughts about Slammiversary, we did do a live stream of our thoughts after the show that we put on YouTube, and I'm not sure if Pat ended up putting the audio onto the podcast feeds yet. He said he would do it eventually, but
eventually.
Go on the YouTube, check it out, subscribe to the YouTube as well. It's free. You can leave your comments about Slammiversary there, or tweet at us at Deep Six Wrestling. And yeah. We've got our post Slammiversary show, basically, our first Impact after.
We consider Slammiversary to be, WWE. We call the major pay-per-views the Big Four. So this is one of the Big Four for
absolutely
Impact Wrestling. So this is after a major show, it's always interesting to see what the new developments and potentially new storylines are. I will say right off the front, I'm not too excited. It didn't feel like that. The Monday after Raw is usually whoa, so much stuff usually happens, after a WrestleMania or a major show. This didn't feel like that to me, but we'll get into why.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat. I think that this is the issue that you have when your next pay-per-view is 2 weeks away.
Right.
I think that we've seen that in WWE as well, when you have the Saudi show, and then you have Backlash or something a week after or 2 weeks after, where it's just okay, well, we're not sure what storylines we want to continue then, so let's just throw them all back and do some rematches and do some quick fire booking real quick.
Yeah. In a world with so much free wrestling to watch for, the content for us to watch and enjoy, it's going to take more for me to, and I'm sure for you too, just in general, I'm not just going to habitually buy pay-per-views for things if I don't enjoy the card as much, I'm not just buying everything AEW and Impact and WWE puts out. It's, I want to watch matches specific to the card. So, that's been the problem, I think, with WWE. And maybe Impact's a little bit too now, where it's you're having back-to-back-to-backs on these Impact Plus shows that cost money, where, wow, I could just, if the card's going to be the same thing as AEW Dark, that's on YouTube for free, so I could just watch that.
Yeah, I do think that's definitely a good point. That if you find something that's free or that's going on around the same time, you're definitely gonna choose that over something that you've seen a million times, or unless you're like, a diehard, I need to support this company no matter what they put out.
Yeah, and of course, people maybe some people listening. I mean, I was like that as a kid, but like, and some people listening now might still be like that. But I think just there's so much out there that you as a company, you just got to, keep on your toes and think that way, that like not everyone's just going to plug and play and watch everything because it's Impact.
Yeah.
Like you got to think like, how can we make this card exciting? That's my 2 cents. But we still got to talk about the show still.
Yeah.
And then you can, the listeners can tell us your thoughts as well.
Yeah, and we'll intersperse some of our thoughts as we talk about what matches get made for Against All Odds, which is on July 1st, a Friday night pay-per-view.
Yeah, true.
Definitely an interesting choice for them to do. It'll be going up against SmackDown, again, a free show for most people.
Oh, it will be going up against SmackDown. That's tough.
Yeah, and then right after SmackDown is Rampage, which will also be a free show for most people. So definitely going to be interesting to see what that brings to the table for Impact, if they decide, okay, well, let's go out there and give it our all, or if they're just going to be like, okay, well, we think a lot of people are going to be watching other stuff, so let's just throw in a bunch of random matches during the time that we think people aren't going to be watching our show.
Yeah, and to my point, and I'll stop here, but my point is just don't do the show then.
Yeah.
Just have less pay-per-views if you're really not going to put it all out and you're going to maybe get, 3,000 buys on a Friday night. Like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Get a better roster, get better storylines, and make it work, or just do less. But that's all right. Well,
yeah.
Let's, did you watch Iceman Intel today?
I did not.
No.
I did not.
He didn't give us much. I mean, going into it, I guess he gave us a little bit because there's some stuff that wasn't announced. He said there'll be some familiar faces on the show today, some like old familiar faces. So,
right.
And that turns out to be true. So sure, thanks, Iceman. And then I watched the BTI match. It featured Black Taurus. Now he's a mainstay on the Impact roster at this point, going against Andrew Everett, who filled in at Slammiversary for Jack Evans. So, I mean, I guess that's cool for Andrew Everett. Like, I guess he maybe signed like a 3-match deal or something. I don't know. Where like, oh, you come to Ultimate X, just stick around for the tapings and we'll find something for you to do.
Yeah.
So nothing wrong with that. Black Taurus wins this match. He is the the Impact guy right now, and I guess that means like Andrew Everett. It's probably not going to be a future for him in Impact, unless if there is a third match in the tapings that I haven't seen yet. That maybe he does something else. But this is my first time like really watching him, so seeing him pretend to be Andre the Giant. Ryan, you said it's Andrew the Giant?
Yeah, so this all started because of the Andre the Giant Battle Royal this year with WWE. They posted like their match graphic for it that WWE put out on social media and on SmackDown that day, said Andrew the Giant Battle Royal. So Andrew Everett, the man that he is, just ran with it. Changed his Twitter bio, changed his Twitter handle, everything, and changed it to Andrew the Giant Everett. And got his singlet made that looks like Andre the Giant.
Yeah, he's got like that unitard. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, I don't know what you call it, but it's the singlet with like the one strap that goes down it.
Yeah,
it's the old Big Show one as well when he was the Giant.
That's why Andre the Giant wore it is that's like the typical like carnival outfit back in the early 19th 20th century stuff.
Yeah,
where like, oh, watch these acrobats and these unitards. Like that's why like Andre the Giant, he was advertised back in the day like he was basically a carnival attraction, like going from town to town. Like he was the main event of wrestling shows because it was just like, see this 7'4" giant of a human. So that was like kind of the gimmick with it. And that's why the Big Show picked it up, because it's like he's just the attraction. He's the carnival attraction. Andrew Everett, I think he's my height. So it's just ironic. It's funny, but that's like the history from it.
Yeah. So I did not watch the BTI match.
There's nothing else to say. Like I said, Black Taurus won. I don't think Andrew Everett's sticking around. Unless you think anything differently from what he did on Ultimate X. But
I don't think there's long-term stuff for him. Maybe he'll be like a plug and play guy.
If you had to say, and I don't know if you have any knowledge of him otherwise, like what is he famous for? Like what promotion or what does he come from, Andrew Everett?
So he was in Impact a few years ago.
Okay.
Like he was signed. And he was part of the Helms dynasty.
Right. Okay.
It was him and Trevor Lee, who's now
yeah.
Cameron Grimes in NXT.
Yeah. Talk about that. Okay.
And yeah, they did one of the Broken Universe matches with the Hardys in Impact. I don't know too much else because I wasn't watching Impact regularly.
Yeah, but so he's had his moments on
Yes.
television.
Yeah, so he's basically just like an Impact guy who then has been doing the indies, and now he popped back in. Maybe he's from Nashville area.
Maybe.
Which would make sense on why they, were able to pull him in the day of.
I mean, they could have probably called Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah.
From Memphis, it's only a couple-hour drive, from Nashville.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's from.
Sure he would have been the second call. I'm sure if Andrew Everett.
Yeah, he's from.
Jerry. You ever heard of Ultimate X?
Oh man, I'd love to see Jerry the King Lawler climbing the X.
He'd be like, "Hey, you saw my casket match with Enzo last year?
Yeah,
I can do it all. I can do it all. You guys still got 6-sided rings, right?
Oh yeah. You guys are gonna give me a live mic?
Please.
Yeah. So he's from North Carolina, so I mean, maybe it's close. Yeah.
Yeah, it's within driving range for professional wrestlers.
Yeah. I guess the other thing we should say before we get into the main show is Lady Frost announced that she has requested her release from Impact, with the reasoning believed to be because of her booking not being there, as well as her win-loss record in the company.
The article mentioned her win-loss record, but she was just saying she wasn't happy with the booking, which is what we could see on TV.
Yeah,
I mean, she went 1-1 with Gisele, and then really didn't do anything else otherwise. But I mean,
she lost several times to Deonna.
Yeah, I mean, if you've heard us on the podcast, we said she probably could use some work on her character development.
Yeah,
if she thought that Impact just wasn't giving her enough spotlight, I don't know if I agree with that. And I mean, we'll see what she does in the next step of her career. Maybe she'll go somewhere like an OVW where she can hone her craft a little more.
Yeah. She was definitely good in ring. It was just like the promos, everything else was just not there, for the most part. And yeah, it also, as when we talked about it last night or today, Pat brought up the fact, or I think it was Pat or you, I don't remember, but that, Impact's brought in a lot of bigger names in the past few weeks and months, basically, with Taya, Mia Yim. Masha is starting to actually face people that are signed to the company. So definitely, and now maybe Mickie James is back. Who knows with that?
At least for a match, I guess.
Yeah. So the knockouts roster is getting a little fuller at this point.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Also, apparently, the Impact believes that they are in good standing to re-sign the Good Brothers, because the Good Brothers like where they're positioned and how they're used in Impact. So, yeah, kind of gives them a little more reason on why they got their titles back at Slammiversary. I know we were both concerned, or not concerned, but we both thought that they were going to be on their way back to Japan or something full time. maybe they still do, and like Impact is just, you'd be like their second home when or like when New Japan actually needs tag teams regularly, but they're in their summer where, it's G1 time. So
true.
they're not really needing the tag teams for that. So maybe they do that. And we're just here for the ride for the Good Brothers while they're in America. So we'll see. It's all speculation at this point, but Good Brothers are still the tag champs and would get some more developments on that tag title or tag world that the Good Brothers would be in later in this show. So the main show starts off with basically a rundown of last night, or not last night's, but Slammiversary. Go through all the matches, have some highlights from each of them. After this, we go into the main show, and Honor No More is coming into the ring. They're shaking things up. We've got Mike Bennett stealing a camera. We've got people in Honor No More, yelling at the commentators and trying to knock over the commentators' table and stuff like that. Before they get in the ring, Eddie cuts this promo about, how Impact is Slammiversary was this big whole idea of, we need to celebrate our history. We need to celebrate Impact. But, Impact, the reason that they're in Nashville is they thought they could make it bigger than Nashville, bigger than this stupid town. And so they moved elsewhere because you guys didn't deserve them anymore, which got some boos. Then talks about how Honor No More lost, but really it was only one person of the team that lost, and that was PCO.
What was this? They're calling out PCO.
Yeah, because he got pinned.
I mean, I guess he didn't kick out of a pile driver, a one.
Yeah,
but this is like we've seen a little bit of dissension within the group, and it's only was geared towards PCO here, which was interesting. Then Vincent kind of comes to his defense here a little bit.
Yeah, Vincent says, I didn't bring PCO back for you. I brought him back for Honor No More. I've been molding him, making sure he's good. And really, you shouldn't be mad at PCO for this. You should be mad at Impact because they had it out for us at the beginning. You should be mad at Tracy Brooks for being allowed to jump over the railing and start attacking Maria. You should be mad at D'Lo Brown for being able to walk into the ring and attack Kenny King, who is there. And you should be mad at Earl Hebner being allowed to jump over the or get over the barricade and do the pinfall, even though he's not he's not an official referee for Impact anymore. And Scott, big old Scott, was over there watching it and smiling the whole time because he was in on it, man. You got to think about these things, man. You dig what I'm saying? And this leads to Matt Taven taking this off the rails real quickly because Matt Taven claims that, I've been saying this for the whole time. Impact's been 20 years of mediocre until we walk through the doors. Honor No More is saving this company. And, I didn't kill Ring of Honor. I saved Impact Wrestling. If it wasn't for me, Ring of Honor would close their doors the night after the MSG show. All this stuff. And this leads to America's Most Wanted coming out. We've got Chris Harris. We've got James Storm.
James. So if you didn't watch the pay-per-view, they made their return.
Oh, yeah.
This past weekend at Slammiversary. And their return was, they didn't, fight anyone. They just came out at the conclusion of the Good Brothers and the Briscoes match and was like, let's just have beer.
Yeah.
So except Chris Harris, he was the DD of the night. So no beer for him, but everyone else there, let's have beer. Yeah. So that's it. That's all we saw from them last weekend. So now they're coming out to interrupt Honor no more. So that's that's not a good thing.
Yeah. I do gotta say, if you use DDing for all of them, what car do you think he drives? If he can fit Gallows,
Probably a
Carl
Briscoe
Anderson, the
tractor.
Briscoes, and James Storm?
Something
Oh,
from the farm, I think.
oh yeah, absolutely. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Or a bus. He might drive a school bus.
Might drive a school bus.
Yeah, James Storm's come out here. He's like, oh, you guys like to whine a lot, all this jazz. Basically, I'm just gonna come out and say you're just not good, which gets a reaction. Or I think he says you guys just suck, which got the reaction. Kenny King then grabs the mic and starts running them down, talking about how they're old timers. You're people of the past. You can't even wrestle anymore. And Chris Harris can't wrestle. He hasn't wrestled in years. To which Chris Harris gets on the mic finally, and the crowd goes wild for him just grabbing the mic. He says, if we got in there, we'd make Kenny King cry harder than he cried during the Bachelorette. And I was like, that's a weird ass line. Why the fuck did he make this comment? Apparently, Kenny King was a contestant on the Bachelorette a few years ago.
Is there any any video of this?
No, but there's People. I mean, I'm sure there is, but People Magazine talked about it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's probably true.
And they covered his engagement to somebody afterwards.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that is cool. Yeah, to talk a little bit about the Bachelorette, there's not too much what do you call that? The video catalog. They didn't keep it very well because there was a guy I worked with. He was the managing partner of the Office, and he was on the Bachelorette back in the early 2000s, but there was no video of it whatsoever.
Interesting.
Talking about it on different websites that interview him and stuff, but there's no video for it. Maybe someone can find the Kenny King video out there. Maybe someone's digging right now after watching the Impact episode and looking for Kenny King on Bachelorette, whatever season.
Yeah, so he was in the 13th season of The Bachelorette, which premiered May 2017.
Oh, that's not too far then. There's got to be something online.
Yeah, he then pulled himself out of the competition in 9th place as he was missing his daughter too much.
Oh.
But then was announced on June 26, 2018, that he would be joining the 5th season of Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, really?
So
that's
he
what he
did
was
too.
doing all this time off of wrestling.
Yeah.
Or not in the main event, but on television essentially. He was doing the Bachelor circuit. Very nice.
Yeah. And then 2020 he got engaged, which People Magazine picked up on.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And the TV celebrities and the like of The Miz and Leo Rush now.
Yeah, he also apparently was on an episode of The Real Housewives as a Chippendales dancer.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, good for Kenny King.
Gotta love it. Yeah, so Chris Harris gets that laugh in there. And they start marching towards the ring, and James Storm says, you guys might have more numbers than us right now, but we made a few friends on that Slammiversary. And out come the Good Brothers, and James Storm and the Good Brothers go into the ring to start fighting. But they're outnumbered. And Chris Harris is out there just standing on the outside.
Yeah.
And commentary says he swore to his family years ago that he would never get back in the ring. He was at his lowest point when he was in the ring. And he agreed with his family they would never lay hands on another person. He'd never fight again. And then the Briscoes come out and make the save, even the odds a bit, and run off Honor No More. We'd get more of this afterwards. But before that, we go backstage, and Gisele and Alicia Edwards are backstage. And Gisele has a cupcake for Alicia. And Alicia is mad at Gisele for not attacking Masha. And Gisele says, hey, we only tag teamed once. I was just out there for support. And I don't want to get involved with anything to do with Masha. So Alicia says that they're done as a tag team, and says that she wants a tag match of their own. She's gonna find someone who hates Gisele just as much. She's also going to find Lady Frost, and then she says she's going to get all the people in the back that hate Gisele to join in this match.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah, and then Giselle's like, okay, well, I'll just find a different partner then, and just walks off. And then Alicia's tries to enjoy the cupcake. Cool. Honor No More than finds Scott and demand action because, you know, James Storm attacked them. They got screwed in the match at Slammiversary. And Scott says, you know, 5-on-5s are supposed to be your specialty, but yeah, I guess you could say that was a fluke. It's a one-off. So you guys at Against All Odds can prove me wrong, prove everyone wrong that you guys are still the strongest 5-man group. And you guys will face the Briscoes, the Good Brothers, and James Storm at Against All Odds. And then he also says that, you know, you guys can get some of your anger out tonight because in the main event, it'll be Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett versus the Briscoes and James Storm. And yeah.
Yeah, all right. So that's our first match for Against All Odds. And I mean, this is like Nexus repeating itself.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, because we're talking about this is just like a pay-per-view, barely as more of an Impact Plus show 2 weeks after a major pay-per-view. So to see Honor No More wrestle again as a team after they just lost in what felt like the blow-off match, it's all right, I guess. Well, you know, maybe this puts eventually Eddie Edwards back in that position to be a title contender. That's all I can see really out of it. Or maybe this finally leads the PCO breaking off.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we'll just have to see. After this, commentary announces that at Against All Odds, Josh Alexander is defending his world title against Joe Doring without any explanation. They just throw that out there, and we get a match graphic for it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, they've already announced that, you know, Diener versus Josh is tonight. So maybe this is going to segue into that. Nope. This segues to Chelsea Green with Deonna Purrazzo at ringside versus Mia Yim. Deonna ends up getting on commentary, points out that her and Chelsea are matching, and they're not even a team for more than a day.
Mm-hmm.
This was just like a blow-off match type thing from, you know, Slammiversary. At least we thought. This was a good match. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I actually say this was a good match. This is probably the best one I can really remember from Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
This felt like a good heel here.
Yes.
And by herself now, Matt Cardona is going to be on the shelf for a while, so she needs to look good. And I think this was a good example of that against someone as talented as Mia Yim.
Yeah. There's some really cool spots in this section or this match. Mia showed off her strength, picking up Chelsea and walking her around the ring for a bit before handing her the power bomb. I thought that was really cool. They each trade. It looked like Chelsea was going to try to hit Eat Defeat, which is Mia and Gail Kim's finisher. She wasn't able to do that. Deonna on commentary was talking about how, you know, maybe me and Chelsea have been in cahoots all the time. Maybe it's just we're just really good friends and decided maybe we should put our things together.
Well, they are real together. Friends.
They are, yes.
Yeah, Deonna says on commentary that she's Chelsea Green's going to be a maiden of honor for her.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So this is just a really big setup though, because then Deonna gets off commentary as Mia goes up to the top rope. Chelsea is faking an injury, so the ref is looking at her, and Deonna pushes Mia off the top rope, and this allows Chelsea to get some offense. It looks like Chelsea's going to win, but out comes Mickie James to attack Deonna.
With a pretty bad Fez press.
That was literally awful. She got like right up next to Deonna and then just jumps up and like Deonna has to like crumple in place.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell if the issue is, Deonna's like in heels and a dress that doesn't look very flexible, or is it just Mickie James kind of botched her Fez press there?
Yeah,
Could have
I'm
been a
not
little
sure.
bit of both.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Because Deonna's like wearing this dress that looks like very tight on the legs.
Yes.
Like, you shouldn't be wrestling in that. Well, she wasn't wrestling. She was on commentary, but like still with the heels and that and getting a Fez press, it's not going to go as fluid as you would in normal ring gear.
Yeah, or even like jeans and like a
Right.
t-shirt or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, this looked really awkward. Mia then gets enough out of it that she's able to pick up the win, and then Mickie slides in the. Yep. Mickie then slides on in to try to go after Chelsea, who is still down because she's just lost the match, just ate a finisher. But Deonna helps Chelsea roll out, and Mickey's like, "Oh, I like acting like Chelsea should have stayed in the ring." It's like she just lost. What do you mean? Why are you gonna pick on somebody who just lost a match? Fuck out of here, Mickie.
Oh, Mickie.
Yeah. I really don't want Mickie versus like Deonna and Chelsea. Just you don't need to bring Deonna into this.
Seems like we're getting a tag match.
Yeah.
And maybe this makes another tag team for the Knockouts tag division.
I was going to say, it gets Deonna out of the main title picture, and I think it would boost the Knockouts tag division if you have like two established names like Deonna and Chelsea in it.
Yeah, exactly. And this can give time for Tasha Steelz to get a rematch.
Yeah. After this, we go backstage, and the Influence are backstage. We've got Madison Rayne taped up around the nose because she has a double something.
I think they made something up for a nose injury.
Yeah.
And the idea is that Madison Rayne's not able to participate for a rematch. They're not going to be invoking their rematch clause anytime soon against Taya and Rosemary.
Yeah. And then we get a little hint of dissension. Because Tenille starts off talking about how, Taya and Rosemary, like, they caused this injury. And Gia's like, oh, well, wasn't it when you guys, like, clashed heads? And Madison's like, yeah, it was. And, if Tenille was focused and didn't get, like, that close, we wouldn't have had this incident. Like, my nose would be fine. We could have had our rematch. We could have gotten our tag titles back as soon as possible, but now we can't. Tenille just brushes off, saying like, "Oh, I don't remember that. I've got a big old lump on the back of my head now from something." Gisele Shaw shows up and says, "Hey, if you want to go back for the tag titles, I could fill in for Madison real quick, and I think we could win." And Madison says, "Why would we choose you? You lost to us." And then Gisele says, "But I beat one half of you already. I just didn't have the right partner. But if I have the right partner, I can win any match." So then they walk off, but then before they can walk off, they come back, and Madison says, maybe we'll consider it if you can take out either Rosemary or Taya next week. To which Gisele says, you can think of it as done. She's going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a good way for Madison Rayne to eventually get herself back off camera. Yes. I don't think she would have stayed this long on Impact if it wasn't for the inspiration, retiring, essentially. Yeah. So that, like, Madison had to step in and basically be the face of this tag division.
Yeah.
Was created for the inspiration. So I think she wanted to, get herself off camera months ago because she's already retired now multiple times.
Yeah.
I think this is a good way to kind of have her softly exit and give, the rub to someone like Gisele Shaw.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this makes total sense. I think Gisele can run with the whole, if they want to keep the influence together, have her and Tennille as a team.
Even if it's for a couple months.
Yeah.
I think they can.
Yeah. After this, we get Shark Boy and Bupinder Gujjar versus Johnny Swinger and Zicky Dice.
I need to speak here.
Yeah.
Everyone got the jobber entrance except Shark Boy.
Yep.
Who historically was only known to be a jobber.
Yes.
So that is ironic.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And then, what's Bupinder doing here? I guess he was in the reverse battle royale. So, whatever.
I guess this is a spot where you can just have, Bupinder like beating some legends and having legends like at least Impact legends holding his hand high.
Yeah, I guess. Shark Boy, man, he is not in fighting shape these days.
Not at all. Absolutely not. He got big.
Yeah, that's it.
This was just a squash match, basically. There were some points where Zicky Dice got offense in. There was a part where I'm 99% sure the ref said there was a tag between Zicky and Swinger, and then Swinger just never got in, and the ref just never acknowledged it. But like they did the thing to say tag, and then Zicky just stayed in, taking and like got pin attempts on him, and Swinger would come in and break it up. It was very odd. Commentary seemed to notice it too, and they were like, "Oh, well, I guess Zicky's still the legal man." During one of the pins, but yeah, Bupinder actually has a name for his spear now. His finish. It's called the Gargoyle Spear. I think that's a cool name. It makes sense. And he wins here. There you go.
Yep, he does. He pins Zicky, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because that's who always has to get pinned.
Yeah. Johnny Swinger, for a wrestler, he doesn't like to do too much wrestling.
No, absolutely not.
I got to protect him for that. Show. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and he doesn't get pinned very often. He's very protected.
Very protected.
Except at the reverse battle royal, he did get pinned by Shark Boy. But
dang.
After this, we've got Joe Doring and Diener rushing out, beating up everybody in this match. Bupinder, Shark Boy, Swinger, and Zicky. And then Diener gets a mic and he calls out Josh. He says, "We're not going to leave until Josh comes out here." Then we go to commercial. We come back and Josh comes out. And Diener looks shocked that Josh is coming out, which makes no sense. You called him out. Why wouldn't he come out?
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. I've got to say, this is the longest promo I've ever heard Diener cut that didn't involve Wrestle House.
Well, yeah, definitely the longest promo since he's been part of VBD.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is an interesting storyline. So he is being the mouthpiece right now because Eric Young is MIA, and that's what Josh Alexander starts talking about. We haven't seen Eric Young since what I did to him at Slammiversary. So you're out here on your own accord, and he goes, "No, it's none of your business, Josh." So that's an interesting dynamic there that maybe Eric Young's gonna hide for a little bit.
Yeah. I also think what's interesting about this is you've got Diener calling Joshua the whole time. And whenever Josh is talking back to Diener, always calls him Cody. Not gonna call him Diener.
Yeah.
Calling him by his real name, his real first name. Oh, thought he lost that name. Now, that'd be like if somebody in WWE was talking to when Rusev versus Cesaro was there and they were saying their first names.
It's like saying Hunter.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. People would. It's like, oh, that means this is getting serious when you're calling Triple H Hunter.
Yeah. Yeah. I think saying Cody to Diener is on that level. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Diener and Triple H are on the same platform.
Yeah.
It'd be even crazier if he called him Paul, though. Oh. Then it's a shoot, brother.
That's a shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh talks about, hey, Where the hell's like? You guys are just going into business for yourselves. Is Violent by Design falling apart? What's going on? Diener throws it over to camera footage from after Slammiversary, where apparently Diener and Joe Doring got in the ring and started beating the crap out of Josh after the match. So there was something that went on that they just cut from Slammiversary.
Good. I'm glad that they're keeping up with that.
Yeah, every year, man.
Yeah, it's a great tradition.
Yeah, next year is going to be when John Cena debuts. They're going to cut that.
Yeah.
Anyway, this leads to them brawling with Josh for a bit. Security starts running out, and Joe Doring just snaps and just starts throwing the security guards around, tossing them out of the ring, beating them up. The refs come out. Diener gets up in Joe's face and is like, "Stop! Hold off! You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to get the title match taken away." And so Joe goes off. He gets escorted back to the back, and according to the commentary, out of the arena. And Diener is out by himself against Josh Alexander for their match.
Before we even start talking about the match, this is a very, unusual wrestling dynamic where it's like the heavy of your, team here is getting a title match after the leader just lost.
Yeah.
Like that I really can't think of anything, recently that's been of similar character. Like, this is very interesting. And Joe Doring, we've noted, like, he's been pretty protected. He had a DQ win against Josh Alexander the other week.
Yeah.
So, like, he really hasn't taken a pin. It's been noted, and they say that here. It's true. He hasn't taken a pin since he's been back with Impact here. Will that mean he, could beat Josh Alexander? I don't think so, but you never know. I guess.
I think this is the way that you can finally give Joe his first loss.
Yeah, probably. I do agree with that. This is a good spot for it. So.
I also have to point out that they kept on referring to him as he's never been pinned, never been submitted in singles matches in the year and a half since he's been there. I went back and looked. I was like, I don't remember any pins. How many matches has he actually had though in that year and a half span?
It's really been a couple.
There's not many, and two of them have ended in DQs.
Right.
Including a DQ loss.
Was that against Gallows?
No. He pinned. That was his only clean win I could find.
So that's a good one.
Yeah, he lost to Eddie Edwards via DQ.
Oh, okay.
Like basically once he came back with Violent by Design, it was like they had two matches, they lost, and then he was facing Eddie Edwards in the lead up to Eddie versus Eric Young. Right. And he lost via DQ.
That's typically not the recipe for a future world champ, like that cage match that you're reading.
Yeah.
But, it's not totally impossible. He is a decorated wrestler in Japan. So
yes, he is. And he's a cancer survivor.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you can beat cancer, you can beat anyone.
You can beat a guy with a broken neck.
Yeah. Diener does not last very long in this match. As he does lose, he does have to tap out to the ankle lock.
Yeah. I mean, makes Josh look as good as ever. Gets another tap out victory.
Yeah. And all eyes can focus in on him versus Joe Doring, main eventing, most likely.
A Friday
night pay-per-view. Hey, man, Joe Doring, he did have a good match against Kojima at that show that they had a match at.
Yeah. Joe Doring has been fine in ring, but we've only really seen him as a tag wrestler, and that was very limited. They were Freebird ruling that title. So, it doesn't feel like it's a, pay-per-view worthy match almost.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. If they do something next week where they have Doring, beat someone, maybe we could talk. Like, if he beats Bupinder, I doubt they would do that. But, like,
no.
But you know what I'm saying, though? He needs to beat one to make me interested.
So, Shark Boy.
Probably.
Yeah. Shark Boy's the new Suicide.
Yeah, taking L's.
Yeah. Well, apparently, and picking up random wins too.
Right, exactly.
Over
and
Giant
people
Swinger.
wearing the mask.
Yeah. We're gonna get Swinger Boy soon. Stone Cold Swinger Boy, where Giant Swinger finds Shark Boy's outfit and starts coming out as it.
Found it in the Swinger's dungeon.
Oh, I hope.
Yeah.
After this, we've got Frankie Kazarian backstage. And now that his stuff with Honor No More is in the background, he can do what he really wanted to do, where he really came back to Impact Wrestling, and that was to put away the nearly 20-year feud rivalry they've had with Chris Sabin. He said, when I was first starting out, as this hot young upstart, everybody was talking about everybody in all different promotions were talking about. But at the same time, there's another young upstart that Impact was growing in the X division, and we had a few matches together, and we've been friends, but we've always been rivals, and that's why I really came back to Impact, was to try to finish that off, because the future is now.
The future looks good.
Yeah, and it looks good. Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, unless if this is going to be just another, screwy finish match, like this could have been something against all odds if you're trying to fill that card.
Oh, 100%.
Could have had Kazarian versus Sabin go for 20 minutes, and that would have been very entertaining. That would have gotten niche fans in.
Yeah.
So it'll be, why it's on, just another Impact. Maybe it's going to be a screwy finish again, but that's just my guess.
They did announce at the end of the show that this will be the main event for next week. So hopefully it's not a screwy finish to end the show.
Hopefully not. But typically you don't have like these matches that have like nothing going forward coming out of it. Like main event show. Unless it's going to be interference or something. That's typically, what history says about wrestling.
That's true.
Kazarian doesn't have a future with Impact. Chris Sabin works as a producer there, so he's not like gunning for the world title. So something must happen here.
Yeah. Or they're just gonna reward their Nashville fans.
Well, they could. I'm cool with that. I'd be surprised, but I'm cool with it.
That's fair. After this, we get promo from Jordynne Grace from after Slammiversary of her thanking all the competitors from the Queen of the Mountain match. Saying that it brought the best out of all of them. It was a grueling match, but it showed just how tough and Jordynne is now, that she's the best she's ever been at this point, and she knows that Tasha is going to have a rematch clause soon, and she looks forward to rematching with Tasha. This would then cut right into Tasha's promo backstage, and she says, I don't need thanks. I don't need your thanks, Jordynne. It was a grueling match, but I got screwed by a special guest enforcer who had it out for me and Savannah. But you won't have that at at Against All Odds. So Against All Odds, it'll be me and you, but only if you can beat the most savage woman on the Knockouts roster, Savannah Evans, next week. I think Jordynne can beat Savannah Evans.
Yeah, and I think Jordynne's going to beat Tasha.
I also think that. After this, we get Sammy Callahan versus Jack Price. Commentary says that Jack Price is one of the two individuals who received their Impact contracts at the Arnold Classic this year as part of Gut Check. Making his debut against Sammy Callahan.
That's cool. So not a great start.
Yeah. So Sammy comes out, and interestingly enough, because this is his actual first match back, that he actually is coming out with a Titantron and stuff. Since he jumped Moose before the match last at Slammiversary. We've got the new Titantron form, which is that basically the vignette that was showing during the lead up to him coming back, the like trippy video movie projections that was like fading out and stuff, but he's got his old theme back, the Death Machine theme. Good. So yeah, this was a squash. That's all it was. Sammy celebrates. Moose comes out. Moose spears Sammy. He then takes Sammy outside of the ring, grabs a steel chair, not one from underneath the ring. Oh no, it is one that the ring announcer and the bellboy are sitting at. Grabs that chair.
You know that chair hurts more.
Yeah, definitely does. It's not it has to support somebody's weight the whole time, so it definitely hurts. Yeah, it's not a gimmick chair.
Not a gimmick chair.
So he slams this on Sammy several times before it folds in on itself a little bit, and then he drives Sammy through the table. Sammy not too happy about this, and this feud is continuing. Backstage, we've got America's Most Wanted, the Good Brothers, and the Briscoes talking. Good Brothers say that they have the Briscoes and James Storms is back tonight. And they'll be watching, and they'll be there if they need anything, because they have respect for them now. And then they all start walking towards the ring, and James Storm turns around and he's like, "Oh, Chris, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be out there with you guys. I'm gonna support you." And he's like, "Oh, I was there at your lowest when you were in the ring. And I was there when you made the promise to your family that you weren't going to come back in the ring. You were never going to fight anybody. You were never going to get physical with anybody ever again." And Chris is like, "Yeah, but that doesn't mean I can't be out there and supporting you." And James is like, "If you're out there, it might bring back those urges. It might cause some damage. I don't want to be responsible for that. Like, just stay back here. We're not going to need you out there. It's better for you to be back here than out there." Chris does not look happy about it, but he accepts it. After this, Sammy is running back, or like hobbling backstage, screaming, and Gail Kim shows up. Angelo, I know you popped hard for that.
I did.
Yeah.
Authority here.
Yeah. Sammy is screaming for Scott. Gail shows up and is like, "Oh, what's the matter, Sammy?" And he's like, "Did you see what just happened?" She's like, "Yes, I just saw what Moose did to you." He's like, "Really? Well, I want a match that against Moose that'll finally end this." And Gail's like, "You guys just had a Monsters Ball. What match is gonna end a feud like this if Monsters Ball couldn't?" Sammy says Monsters Ball was only the beginning. He had a phone call, a very interesting phone call with a friend the other day, and he recommended a match to me, a violent match. He recommended Raven's Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, and Gail acknowledges it and says it's happening against all odds. Commentary looks absolutely shook about this revelation. Talking about how violent it is, how in the mind something coming out of the mind of Raven can't be good.
Yeah. So it's just going to be a little more intense than a Monsters Ball, is what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah. Basically, from what I've seen about it, like part of the ring has a steel cage around it. It seems very weird. It hasn't been used in over 10 years. As it's Raven has kind of brought it everywhere he goes, but hasn't been used by anybody since 2012. It's been used in MLW. It's been used in ROH. GCW, which I didn't know GCW has been around that long.
It has, yeah.
Yeah. And the last time it's been Impact, it was 2009 when Raven faced Jethro Holiday, aka Trevor Murdoch, in a 4-minute match.
Yeah, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, hopefully we aren't getting a 4-minute match here.
Oh, we might.
But we've also had the Raven bringing it out in Ring of Honor against CM Punk. So,
ooh.
I mean, yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. This would lead us to the main event is Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, and Eddie Edwards versus the Briscoes and James Storm. Good to see James Storm back in action. I feel like James Storm is always going to be an Impact lifer that they can plug and play.
Absolutely.
I think he'll be in another company and they'll just be like, I've got to go back to Impact for like 6 months.
They need to be back real quick.
Yeah. I need to go do Swingers Palace stuff with Chris Sabin for a bit.
To play blackjack and drink beer on TV.
Yeah. So this was a fun match. It was good to see James Storm still has stuff in the tank. He looked good. The Briscoes always look good. This was just a lot of nonsense happening throughout. Commentary talks about how, the Briscoes are one of the best tag teams in the world, but Mike and Matt have been a really successful tag team for several years now as well. They distract the ref at one point so that the Briscoes can't make a tag because the ref didn't see it or hear it because they were making so much noise and focusing the ref's attention on them. And this kind of helped them take control of this match some more. There's a good spot towards the end of this where it looked like all 3 members of their team was going to take control and end the match as they all lined up for a super kick on, I believe it was Jay Briscoe, but James Storm comes in and just lines up a beautiful last call or last shot, whatever it's called. And the other 2 members of Honor No More just like stop what they're doing because of what just happened. But in a surprise twist, I think the Briscoes end up getting pinned by Matt Taven and Mike Bennett with the Proton Pack.
Kind of surprising.
Mark Briscoe eats the pin. And then Honor No More beat the crap out of everybody. They grab chairs, wrap them around Mark Briscoe's leg, and starts slamming it on there over and over and over again. And then they celebrate standing tall. Good Brothers never came out to help. Chris Harris did not come out to help. But the other members of Honor No More came out to help. We would then learn today that the Briscoes have been pulled from this match against all odds. Due to injuries that have been delivered at the hands of Honor No More. And so at Against All Odds, James Storm and the Good Brothers will have 2 mystery partners.
Yeah, Impact written off the Good Brothers. Or not, the Briscoes here.
Yeah, it seems very strange.
It does.
So we talked about this earlier, Angelo. Who do you think are going to be these 2 people that fill in?
I don't know who the second's going to be, but I think Chris Harris is involved.
I agree. I think Chris Harris, this is his return.
Yeah. I know Pat said to us that he thinks it's just like Motor City Machine Guns. Like, we just saw that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Alex Shelley's going to stick around for another set of tapings right now.
Yeah. Hey, man, it could just be Chris Sabin.
It could be Chris Harris and Chris Sabin.
Yeah. And then Chris Sabin can help convince James Storm to go to the Swingers Dungeon because it's just as good as Swingers Palace. We can get some insight on there. So then we can have Chris Sabin yelling, "I love this place."
That would be scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if it's going to be Motor City Machine Guns. I don't think it's necessarily a lock.
No, I don't either.
Just because they just did that match, so to have them in again would just be like you're wrestling the same team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, if they end up having another screwy finish with, like, Frankie and Sabin with Honor No More attacking them again,
then it's
that'd
Frankie.
be really stupid. And I don't need Frankie and Sabin coming back into this. Like, one, I don't like the Good Brothers as baby faces to begin with. I don't think they're believable baby faces.
No, they really are, and it might be short lived. We'll see.
Yeah, I think
they might be doing this to kind of separate them from Bay and Ace Austin, which is kind of weird. They're all in Bullet Club, but like, you know, the heels of the X division and the Good Brothers are just doing their own thing in the tag division. I guess is going to be the idea.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Otherwise,
it's
like
strange.
you said, the other speculation is just they're going to fill the match with the rest of the Bullet Club.
Yeah, I mean, you could. There's a lot of options you could end up doing. It would be very strange if they just bring all Bullet Club. Like, is James Storm part of Bullet Club for one night only?
Yeah, right.
I don't know what they do here. It's very confusing. We'll see. We just have to wait and see. But I think Chris Harris is a lock at this point.
I would think so. I mean, they're teasing that he's been retired, but you know, a couple more bumps won't kill him.
Yeah, if a couple bumps put him back on the wagon, I think there's an issue.
Yeah, if he showed up to the taping, I think he's got intention of having this match.
Yeah, and in decent shape. From the last time we saw him to Slammiversary, he looks in a lot better shape than he was.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So maybe he's training.
Yeah. Even if it is just for one multi-man match.
Yeah. I guess let's just change a little bit of subject before we give our thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
We really didn't get anything about the X division this week.
Yeah. So the only thing we got was announced for next week's show is a number one contendership match between Chris Bay, Steve Macklin, Laredo Kid, and Trey Miguel.
Okay. Yeah, right. But like, there's nothing really on the card that like had Mike Bennett show up, or not Mike Bennett, but you know,
Mike Bailey. Nope.
Mike Bailey show up. Or
Ace nothing Austin. About Ace Austin. Nothing.
Yeah, that's surprising. I mean, you know, we got time still before he gets all odds, so next week is a very important match for that.
Yeah, I just think it's very interesting that I feel like this is every time Ace Austin gets gets the X Division title and loses it, he's never able to cash in his rematch clause.
That's like been his shtick. It feels like you're right,
because apparently he's not getting his rematch clause again.
Yeah, at least not immediately. Which I think that's fine. Save it for a better show.
Yeah,
but
because I mean the Mike Bailey and Ace Austin story, like that shouldn't be wrapped up at Against All Odds.
Yeah, right. It shouldn't be. It goes beyond the title. So I think save it for later. That makes sense.
We also did get announced that Ace Austin will be in action next week against Alex Zane, and Chris Bay will be in Ace Austin's corner.
Very cool.
So Chris Bay having a match, and then being in a corner for somebody in the same show. What a guy!
We're doing double duty.
Yeah. And apparently this is going to be the end of Ace Austin and Alex Zane's storyline that started in Japan at the end when Ace joined Bullet Club. I think the other thing is basically, I think the other thing is Alex Zane's just going back to Japan. So
yeah, exactly. So I might bring in some eyes from New Japan that want to. Yeah. Apparently, those two are some of the most popular guys in the whole Super Juniors tournament, right?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
We've also announced, as we said, Chris Sabin versus Frankie Kazarian in the main event next week, and Gisele Shaw will be facing Rosemary. Okay. So 4 matches next week. Who do you think will be the number one contender for Mike Bailey's title? Chris Bay, Steve Macklin, Laredo Kid, or Trey Miguel?
Maybe Trey Miguel, because Trey Miguel did beat Bailey.
Yeah.
Into Slammiversary, so this would be like the rematch.
Yeah.
And let them be 1-1. I think that would make a lot of sense because I'm a little upset that Macklin's here.
Yep.
I think because we felt like, beating Sabin and, by association beating Jay White, pushed him into like, oh boy, he's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
And now he's in a fatal 4-way for the X Division title, which it is a very good title, but Macklin is not really an X Division wrestler. His goal should be the world title. Putting him in a match that I don't think he's going to win doesn't make sense for me here. You could have put someone else in, like John Skyler or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you could have literally put anybody else in here. Good throwing in Andrew Everett, honestly.
Right. If he stuck around for the tapings or like get BSK or something, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we will see what happens next. Overall, Angela, what do you think of tonight's or this show?
Thumbs in the middle. And did you agree that you think it's going to be Trey Miguel?
So I think Trey is a safe choice. I think the other choice you could do is you could have Chris Bay win with like some interference by Ace Austin.
Yeah, sure.
And that's how, like why Chris and Ace are going to be teaming up later in the night. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
not a bad idea. I think like the effort is going to be put so much into this card. That's what
I don't either now.
The answer.
So I think Trey would be the safest.
Yeah.
I also am going thumbs in the middle. It advanced some stories, but most of the stuff I did not think was the strongest.
Yeah,
I thought the matches were fine though.
Yeah, the matches are fine, but unfortunately, it's like Joe Doring versus Josh Alexander isn't the most exciting world title match you can give us for the next pay-per-view. It feels like some repeating storylines. You're just having Moose and Sammy go at it again when they just had the Monsters Ball match, and they're just doing another hardcore match. Usually don't do that type of back-to-back, but it's fine. Maybe we'll trade off wins there. It'll probably be entertaining end of the day.
Yeah.
But I think we got our hopes up a little bit with Gail Kim and Tommy Dreamer kind of hinting big things are coming, and it just feels like we're churning the regular stuff now, and we're going back to like this is like a normal Impact Plus quick show that's just going to have a card that does the job, but it's not like anything spectacular.
Yeah.
So that's just unfortunate, but
agreed. Yeah, agreed. We're definitely in that space where it's just I don't want to say they're treading water, but it felt like they realized they were rushed for time, and they're just like, let's just throw out what we can.
Yeah, I mean, Good Brothers' Faces for me is treading water.
Yeah,
that's just doesn't feel like it's necessary. They're a very strong heel team, especially when they're motivated, as we keep saying.
Yeah,
put them in something that just feels kind of meh is gonna probably put them back in that wagon of like, well, we're too good for Impact. We don't care. So,
but yeah, that's our thoughts. Please, if you feel inclined to, you guys can let us know on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling what you guys thought about the show, and what you guys think about the card shaping up for Against All Odds. You guys can also comment on our YouTube at Deep Six Wrestling as well. Subscribe to the podcast, give us ratings, give us reviews, whatever you want. And again, we also normally put the stuff on the Impact subreddit, and you guys sometimes give us comments on there as well. Feel free to leave us some comments as well about what you're thinking about Against All Odds lineup so far and what you thought of this week's show.
Yes, thank you. And with that, thanks for listening. This was another episode of the Impact Power Hour.
Yep. Bye.